Hi guys, my name is Unique. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, then you should know that the content covered on this channel is financial literacy and Canadian immigration. If you feel as though this content may be for you, then please remember to comment, like, share, most importantly subscribe, and do not forget to hit that notification bell so you will be the first to know whenever there is a new video uploaded. If you are already an existing subscriber, welcome back guys. So today's content is going to be more of a discussion amongst financial advisors, Carlton Benjamin, Jimmy Kayonga, Trevor Longboat, and myself. You, the viewer, will get the opportunity to listen as we discuss life insurance, GoFundMe accounts, as well as sharing our personal stories and why we believe it is important in ensuring that individuals and their families are protected. Before I jump into the video though, I would like you, the viewer, to ask yourself this question. What is the most important asset that you have? Okay, stay tuned and I'll see you guys in a bit. My name is Unique Green Ricketts. Today's topic is going to be life insurance. I'm going to be talking about, some of the importance of life insurance and some of the stigma associated with life insurance. I hope that the information that is provided, you are able to apply it to your personal life or pass it on to a friend or a family member that, it may be of some benefit to as well. So when we talk about life insurance, a lot of people seem to associate life insurance with death. And, it's unfortunate to say, yes, life insurance is associated with death. However, death is something that is inevitable. We cannot run away from death. We also cannot run away from sickness, which is why it is important to have a life insurance in place. Well, which is why I feel as though it's important to have life insurance in place. You may be watching and you may feel, not the same as I do about it, which is why I am going to share the reasons as why I think it is important. So, if you are a single person or if you have a family, a wife, a husband, children, you want to ensure that there is something in place. Life insurance is more than just death. It can be put in place for mortgage protection, for income protection in the event you get laid off from work, due to disability reasons, you're not able to work, or, critical illness and you're not able to work. You have that there to help you. Okay. I find that when you start to have a conversation about life insurance with a lot of people, the first thing they'll often respond is, oh, I have life insurance through work. However, I personally believe that a life insurance policy through work should not be solely dependent upon. Reason being, if for whatever reason you end up losing your job today or tomorrow, what if something happens to you after that? What if on your way home after being laid off, you so unfortunately end up in a car accident? That life insurance coverage is no longer in place to protect you. So for those reasons, you want to ensure that you have, an independent coverage in place to protect you and yourself. And if you are someone that may have a life insurance policy, you may want to look at your life insurance policy and know what kind of coverage you have, because another common question, that I normally ask is what are you covered for? And a lot of people don't know what kind of coverage they have, and they have to go back and do their homework and figure that information out. It would be unfortunate that something happens to you and you're scratching your head trying to figure out, oh my gosh, am I covered for this? I don't even know. I need to go in and check my policy. So, these are things that we need to take more seriously. You want to ensure that you're making, responsible, decisions, responsible choices, especially if you have a family, especially if you have children. What is it that you would like to leave for your children when you pass away? Is it your collection of shoes? Because I can tell you that's definitely not what I want to, pass down to my child. For me, life insurance is a security. I feel good going to bed at night and knowing that if something happens to me, my family will be well taken care of. I know that their quality of life will not be reduced. I know that they may potentially even be able to live an even better quality of life with me no longer being present. It's sad to say, but it is the truth, and that's what I want to ensure is in place, for the protection of my family. um, a lot of people do have life insurance policies, and because they may not understand the language, when certain policies are being put into place, they don't know the right questions to ask. And oftentimes when you end up asking if it's okay to look at their policy, you realize that their policy really doesn't you know match the level of lifestyle that they're living. I personally, if you have a annual income, of $100,000 a year, I personally don't feel like a $50,000 life insurance policy is going to be enough to cover you and your family, especially if you have a mortgage that you have to be paying, especially if you have children, especially if you have debts. So, it's important to know the right questions to ask to ensure that the things that you're putting in place for income protection, or whether it's to create generational wealth, you want to ensure that that is done the right way. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Jimmy or Trevor, whichever one of you would like to, jump on here and give some more insight.
This is one of those topics that I've always wanted to have with people, because I came to realize that it's not that people don't want to buy life insurance or don't need life insurance. It's just that most people are intimidated by the language and by the reputation of companies or stories they hear from, basically around. And it's very sad and unfortunate, because some people just make decision based off wrong information. And I'm very happy that I have partners in business that are willing to give out information without anything to expect in return. So that being said, I wanted to touch a little bit on GoFundMe page. Is one of it's the only option, I guess, that's left. You don't have a life insurance policy at this point, unless you have good savings that that could replace your income, that could cover your child's education, all that stuff. If you don't have a life insurance policy, then you're leaving that to chance, basically. You don't know what's going to happen, but you already know what could happen, right? And we're avoiding planning for it, not because not because we don't know what's going to happen, but it's because I think we try to avoid that conversation. And some of the reasons why we avoid the conversation basically is because we don't know who to trust to. Where should I go ask for these questions? Let me give Trevor time to talk. Thank you.
Thanks, Jimmy. First of all, I want to thank Jimmy and Yannick for putting together these kind of webinar series. You're providing value first to people out there on the call, or people out there in general. And I think, if we're kind of relating this to life insurance versus GoFundMe, this is the kind of conversation that lessens that gap, right? And the more you're having a conversation or talking about, some people on this call maybe are able to had a story about maybe their friend passing away, or someone getting a critical illness and not knowing much about it. And I think that's where it starts first, is having these kind of conversations. And it's something that, like, when I sit down with my clients, I always kind of address and say, hey, let's have the conversation, let's see the kind of relatability or the kind of knowledge that maybe you've experienced. And life insurance to me is just like time insurance. Like, if you have the time, and I know a lot of people in the call are going to go out and build a great life for their family, but if you don't get that time, life insurance will step in and do that for you. Like I said, life insurance is time insurance. It kind of guarantees you the time you need to do what you want. And I've always asked, how much time insurance do you need? Whether it's covering your mortgage, whether it's knowing a lot of other things that what life insurance can do. there's nothing probably less exciting, but more valuable, right? It's usually we're taking the time right now in our family to do our grocery list, do our shopping list. But I ask you this, are you actually doing your financial list? Are you taking the time to say, hey, listen, let's give Jimmy a call. Let's give Yannick a call, and let's start building some kind of a game plan, a strategy, or let's start opening up this conversation. Because, you know, life insurance, as we know, is not a need. It's not a need. It's a want, but it's a privilege to have. And usually, everyone wants or needs life insurance when they cannot get it. And it usually starts with conversations like this. That is. That Yannick and Jimmy are, you know, putting forth and putting the value out there. And so, you know, that's kind of a little, you know, starter point that I want to talk into, and I'll jump in a bit after.
Carlton.
Thank you, Jimmy. I I lost my voice. I've been on so many presentations in the last couple of days. So many families' life have been changed in the last few days, and for that matter, over the last year and some months. I've been on this mission, and it's because of the knowledge that I've gained once I entered into the industry, and it all came from a personal experience. If I can just share my experience with those of you may not know, in 2015 I was diagnosed with cancer, and it was at that moment that I realized that I could actually die. Before that, I thought I was invincible, like most people. Gotta play soccer, don't drink, don't smoke. I eat fairly good, healthy, not really into the fast food sort of living. And one day, I had this tumor growing in my leg, and went to go check it out. I thought it was kind of hard, and they did some surgery to remove it after multiple testings. And they came back after biopsy and said that, that was a full, that tumor was 100% cancer, the entire tumor. So they rushed me back into surgery again and did a second surgery to remove the margins. It was that the moment that I realized that, oh my God, we're not invincible, we're not immortal. But at that moment, I already had sat down with someone and spoke about life insurance, and was able to obtain a policy for myself. That was because, my mom was living in Jamaica. We come from humble beginnings. So we never really had much. And I wanted to make sure that if something had happened to me, I got into Canada. Very luckily, my dad lived here, brought me over. But I had a responsibility to make sure that my family back home was still okay. So I was working, I was always a hard worker. And I wanted to make sure that if something had happened to me, my legacy would still be carrying on, because I was the one that was here trying to provide for my family in Jamaica. So I wanted to ensure that, that was still going to be able to continue. So that's when I took out a policy that if something happened, they would have sent that over to my mom in Jamaica, my brothers and sisters. So that was sort of how I got into owning a policy in my life. I had a reason why. And so for most people, they don't really, they haven't really analyzed themselves to understand why is life insurance important. It's not really for you. So it's more like it's not a selfish act, because you're not getting that money for yourself. When something happens, it's the people that you love the most, the people that are dependent on you, the people that you are, that are looking forward to, the income that you can provide with your health and time. That's what's important. So it's one of the most unselfish act of kindness out there. So that's how I got into that. And that moment when I got diagnosed, I kind of looked at life. There's a switch, and I decided that I needed to get on this in this industry and try to educate people, not sell them anything, because obviously we don't own products. But my job is to educate families that may not have this knowledge. The second thing as well is, if you have kids and stuff like that, especially in this trying time, one of the biggest economic issues that I see conversations online is we can't afford houses. How are we going to be able to afford houses? And if you really think about it, you can use life insurance to create wealth, because it has been ever since it came into evolution. Life insurance was put in place to be a backup for business owners, if their most valuable key employee passed away, they wanted to make sure that they didn't take a hit on their profit margins or their revenue. So they put life insurance on those people that would replace that. If you see that the value's been like that from day one, and now we can use that to set up a legacy for a family. Now our kids don't have to worry about how they can buy a house. This could be as little as $20 per month. Is it worth it for your family to have that in the background? Absolutely. So, I mean, I don't want to take up too much of the time, obviously, but I just wanted to put in there from my perspective, there was a reason why I was diagnosed with that, that dreadful, big C, and I survived it. And, but if it had gone the other way, my family would have been okay. And, that makes me feel better. And now I have to make sure that I spread that message out there so that other people can be in the same position that I'm in, and they don't have to resort to the GoFundMe part of the spectrum. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Carlton, for sharing your story. It is definitely inspiring, and I know it hits close to home for me because we are related. If it was not for Carlton, I would actually not be in this line of business whatsoever. And oftentimes we want to support our family members whenever they bring something to the table, and we just show up to say, yeah, we were there and we supported, but oftentimes while we're there giving our support, we don't bother to, listen to the information that's, being presented. And, he gave me an opportunity to participate in something similar as, what we're doing right now. And I was so happy that I was tuned in and I was listening to the information. And at that time, honestly, I didn't have anything in place, for myself, for my family. And I learned so much. When I got the information, I was upset, and excited at the same time, because I was like, wow, I'm learning all these things that I didn't know before, and now I can put these things in place, and I can reap the benefits of this stuff. And I ensured that I got life insurance for myself. Also, during this time, my husband and I were planning a move from Ontario to Alberta, and my husband at the time had not yet had life insurance, and Carlton was very adamant that, he's going to be doing a 3-day drive from Ontario to Alberta. You need to ensure that he gets that insurance policy. It is what if something happens? I'm like, oh, nothing's going to happen. He's going to be fine. And you know what? We just said, okay, all right, fine. We're not going to wait. Let's get you covered as well. After, my husband did a 3-day journey here from Ontario. We had a vehicle, a hitch attached to the U-Haul truck with our vehicle on the top of it, tied down to it. And when he returned the U-Haul truck with the hitch, the guy looked at him and said, I don't understand how you made it, from Ontario all the way to Alberta, because this hitch was not done properly. So at any time during that journey, my husband could have literally, flew off the road, and that would have been it, with like a baby that's not even, a year and a half old yet, and still on maternity leave and not having anything in place. I personally don't know how I would have been able to pick up the pieces. So to Carlton, I am so happy to, have you constantly sharing and inspiring others to ensure that they make the right decisions financially, ensuring that they are protected as well as their family. And guys, I understand that not everyone may be able to afford life insurance, and in no way are we trying to bash GoFundMe account. I do, and I guess I can also say we understand that, GoFundMe, it's there for a specific purpose for those who may not be able to afford, the monthly expense of a life insurance policy. But if you are an individual that can absolutely afford, to get a life insurance policy for your protection, it is for your protection and no one else. It's not doing us any favor. It's not doing us any benefit. It's doing you all the favors. It's ensuring that you are protected. It's ensuring that your family, is protected. But with that being said, I'm just saying we're not bashing a GoFundMe account. Like I said, we understand that it's there for a specific purpose for those who actually need it. Okay?
Thank you so much, guys, for sharing personal stories, because at the end of the day, this is what helps other people relate to different situations, because it's one thing to just give out presentation, and I think this is why we wanted to have a webinar like this, where we're not sharing PowerPoints and explaining what life insurance, term insurance, universal life, all that stuff. This is a moment where you share a personal story that could help someone else make decision, or in life that that you have taken. And a GoFundMe page, honestly, like, I'm thankful that we have such an option, because what could happen if we didn't even have GoFundMe page, right? But it's one thing to count on GoFundMe page, I mean, when we had an option to prepare ourselves, have a life insurance policy, critical illness, disability insurance, or auto insurance, because anything could happen. We're living with risks, and we know all the risks, but there's some of the risks that are that could cause life-changing, could bring life-changing situations to family, even to self. I will talk about a little bit on disability insurance. The way I got into this industry, I was injured at work, and I had a concussion. I had 2 jobs at the time, but I had just resigned one of the jobs that I was doing. So when I went to claim at WCB, they told me that, well, look, you just resigned that job and you haven't started the other job. So what are the options, right? So I now had to rely on that one part-time income that I had at that time, and that's the only thing that was covered. Now I wonder what could have happened if I had some type of life insurance. I'm talking about critical illness, not critical illness, disability insurance, because in that time, I think I would have qualified for something that could have pushed me. I was off at work for about 8 months, but I had to go back to work because I couldn't live off 90% of half the income. You know what I mean? So these are some of the stories that I like people to share, so that other people can actually relate and know what to do next. Yes, we have options, and we've already touched a little bit on them, but life insurance itself is not for you as an individual, right? It's for the people that you care about, people that you love. That's why people decide to take on life insurance policy, because you're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to look cool because you have a life insurance policy, but your family will, when you're not able to be there to support them in situation like children going to school. If you're not there, life insurance policy will cover that. And I will let someone for the financial advisor just go over, one story that they think would be helpful for other people on the call here as we wrap up.
Could I just say one quick thing, just to what Yannick was saying about her husband and getting that insurance before they traveled up there, and then the hitch being not installed properly or almost breaking. And that's not his own hitch from his own car. That's from a company that he rented from. Correct. So that just goes to show you anything can happen at any given time. He's a healthy man, just driving to another province to start a new life there, and a tragedy could have happened. It could have went the other way. And if you plan something and put something in place for those incidents, then you're covering yourself and you're covering your family, because at the end of the day, when it's our time to go, we never know, right? You never know. And it's always like, oh, what if? But what if you could take care of that what if earlier? And this is the stuff that we're trying to implement into people's minds, just to get them thinking, to be like, you know what, let's start planning ahead just for in case, because we all have to have car insurance in case something happens. Because if you get in an simple accident, and you're driving a little Honda and you get in an accident against a Mercedes, you have to pay out of your pocket for that little mistake. You know what I mean? That's just a little incident that the insurance can take care of. So these are great stories that can help you to think and to help you to plan for the future.
Welcome back, guys. So in the beginning of the video, I had asked you, the viewer, to ask yourself, what is the most important asset that you have? For me, my most important asset is me and my health and being healthy. Without me, there is nothing. I can do nothing, right? If I'm not healthy, how can I be proactive? How can I ensure that I have an income? How can I do all the things that I need to do? If you agree with my stance on the fact that an individual's health is one of the most important assets that they have, then I'd also like you to think of the following. If you are to lose your job and the benefits that comes with your job, will you still be protected? And will your family still be protected? If not, why? Thank you guys so much for watching this video today. I really hope that you enjoyed the content. Please remember to comment, like, share, most importantly subscribe, and do not forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be the first to know whenever there is a new video uploaded. Please feel free to check the description box below where you will be able to reach out to any of the financial advisors. I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.